Hello and welcome. I'm going to show you the 3 steps you can follow to get yourself a screenwriting manager or agent. So you might be somebody who's just starting out in the industry. You've written a script you think's fantastic and you want to get yourself a representation to try and help sell that script or to get you other work as a screenwriter. Or maybe you're somebody that's already worked a little bit in the industry as a professional writer and you just need a manager or an agent to negotiate deals for you or to help you get more work or even to guide your career. So I have followed these steps and it works. I have used these steps to get myself international representation, a very good manager overseas, and I'm going to show you how to do that yourself. So before we get started, there is a really important thing we just need to be clear on, whether or not you need a manager or an agent. Now, all countries are a little bit different in this regard. So in the United States, there's a real clear difference between the role of a manager and an agent. Here in Australia, where I come from, we really don't have screenwriting managers at all. Same thing in the UK. It's just agents for screenwriters. I'm not going to go into the weeds of all the differences between the two different roles of an agent and manager, but the main thing you need to know if you're just getting started out in the industry or you're just in those early stages, what you probably really need is a manager if you're in the US, and if you're in a country like mine, you're just after an agent. But the main thing that a manager will do is they will help develop your career, give you guidance. They will look at your scripts, the projects you've already written, the things you're hoping to develop, and they'll give you active feedback. They'll guide your choices. These are the scripts that you should be writing. Maybe that idea is not one that is for now because there's no interest in historical action films at the moment. They'll give you those bits of guidance and help sort of set your goals and steer you in the right direction. So for the purposes of this, if you're in the US, we're looking at managers. If you're in a country like mine in Australia, we're looking at agents. Now, the first step is how to find those screenwriting managers or agents. Now, the first thing that we need to keep in mind is you really want to be approaching the right type of manager. What I mean by this is, and we'll see this as we go through this process, managers and agents tend to have a particular niche that they're strong in, a particular genre. So you'll often see a manager that represents a lot of writers, screenwriters that are, for example, mainly big budget action films, or they seem to be really strong in horror films, thrillers, those kind of things. Or there might be an agent that or a manager that seems to have a lot of clients that do, lighter rom-coms, comedies, those kind of things. And it's very important to narrow our list down a little bit to managers and agents that represent the same type of clients that do the same kind of work that we do as a screenwriter. That's very, very important. So then the question is, how do we actually do this? And I'm going to be talking a lot about IMDb Pro. So you've probably no doubt heard about IMDb, the Internet Movie Database. It's kind of a go-to for everything to do with film and TV. But it's a very, very useful tool for screenwriters looking to find managers and agents. And if you haven't actually seen the amazing things that IMDb Pro can do, I really recommend that you jump on. I think you can actually get yourself a 30-day free trial. And that'll really get you started. You'll be able to see all the amazing details of who's involved in productions, what their contact details are, all those kind of things. And it's a really, really, really useful tool. I think it's around about $150 per year at the moment. It's worth the investment, especially if you're going to be going through this process of reaching out to managers and agents. So please jump on there, and I'm going to show you all the amazing things that you can do in IMDb Pro right now. So here is IMDb Pro, and we're actually going to go into this section, which is customize your search. Now, I'm going to show you the first step. This is probably the longest way to do this is going to require the most amount of work, but it's probably a good starting point just to show you the capabilities of IMDb Pro. Also just, I guess, straight off the bat, I'll just let you know that I'm not in any way getting paid by IMDb Pro. So this is just off the back of my good experiences using these tools. So um, in the Discover section, you can either search by people or titles. We're going to go through people to start off with. The first section is who would you like to find, profession, and you can see all the different roles. And you can go down to manager or also agent. And this will give you the initial filtering, which is 15,000 people are listed in IMDb globally that are managers. Now, you can also have a look down here and you can filter between has clients or no clients. We obviously want people with clients because it means they're active. That's already pretty much halved the results, just about. And then you can further to that, you can actually filter by number of clients. Now, you will find occasionally that there are managers and agents out there that just seem to have like a random one client, two client. There's an argument to be said that they are a good person to go after, but for the purposes of this, let's say we want to go after managers, agents that are actually established up to a certain point. So let's just add in 10 there. So that's filtered the results down to around 3,000, which is really good. Now, you can further to this filter by location of the person. Even further, you can filter by race, gender, even disability, sexual orientation, all those things. Of course, that all depends on whether or not that particular person has uploaded those details to IMDb Pro. So don't take that as a definitive way of filtering, but perhaps you have a particular reason why you would like to have a female manager over a male manager, or you're somebody that might live with a disability and you'd like to find a manager or an agent that can relate to that experience, perhaps because you write a lot of material, a lot of screenplays that are related to disability. So there are ways to filter with these things, which is quite interesting. But the only issue here is it gives you a very, very long list, and it's going to just take you a very long time to go through and look at every single manager and agent here to find ones that are the right fit for the type of screenplays, the type of work that you produce. So the better way of doing this is to actually go through titles. And what we're going to look for here is and when we were really focusing on movies here. So we're going to select the type of title, and you can see there's lots of different ways to filter here. Well, we're going to choose movies, and this is a really important step. So what we're really looking for, again, is to find managers that seem to be strong in the type of genre that you're strong in. So for argument's sake, you love horror films, you write mainly horror films. So ideally, you're going to be looking for managers that or agents that represent horror writers or have a strength in that. Because remember, keep in mind, especially when it comes to managers, you're looking for managers that will be able to, or the managers will be giving you feedback on your work. So if your manager's like really, really passionate about romantic comedies, they're probably not going to give you the quality of guidance, of feedback on your horror screenplay that you really need. And they might also, most likely, won't have the industry connections for horror films if their main focus is rom-coms or musicals or something like that. So we've selected movies because that's what we're really talking about today. Obviously, it applies for television too. And we're going to be looking at the particular genre of that particular title. So like I said, for argument's sake, in this case, I am a horror writer. I love horror. So I'm going to filter the titles in IMDb down to horror films. I'm going to go, there's lots of different categories here that you can see that open up. But the main thing that we're going to do is scroll a little bit further down, and we're going to go to production release details. I'm going to look for projects that have been released. And then we're going to have a look at the release date. Obviously, is because like the film actually needs to have come out. If you don't select released, it's going to be a lot of projects that are still in development or a pitch stage or something like that. We're just trying to filter projects that have actually been made and released. So we're going to find them by doing this. And then we're going to go down to the release date, and we're going to filter again for films that have been released in the last, let's say, 15 years or so. So we'll go back down to 2009, January, and then we are going to further cut that list down to all the films that have been made during that period that have been released that are horror films. Now, why are we doing this? Because we are then going to be able to scroll down this list and through this list and look for films that are very similar to your projects. And in particular, I guess the main project you're going to be pitching to that manager or agent. You know, your project is a sci-fi, you love those kind of like alien horror thriller things, then an Alien Romulus title is going to stand out to you. And what you're going to do here is you're going to click on that particular title. It's going to bring you to the page, and you're going to go to this section here, which is where you find the writers that are listed. Now, bear with me here. I know I'm going through quite a lot of detail, but this will also get a whole lot easier as you do it more and more. But it's definitely worthwhile, and it will help just narrow down that list of managers you're going to approach. So we've found the writers of Alien Romulus, which is a similar film to the films you like to write. And we're going to have a look at the writers for this one. Now, written by, that's the one we're looking for. So you're Fede Alvarez, he's one of the writers on it, and Rodo Sayagues. And our apologies, I've probably butchered those names. And we're going to click on, now Fede is a director as well of this particular project, so he might have come on later to do rewrites or something like that. So we'll just focus on the person who's potentially the dedicated writer in this regard. I'm going to click on their name. It's going to open up their page. Now, it's going to give you all the details. Again, you know, have some fun exploring IMDb Pro. It's going to give you a lot of information about all of that particular person. And what we're looking for in particular in this case is this section here on the left-hand side where we have the contact details. And you can see Rodo has his own production company. We're not particularly interested in this. And this is more what we're after, which is his representation. Now, Rodo has an agent. He does not have a manager. Now, that is a slight issue for us because this is America where there is a difference between agents and managers. So, you know, we're really looking for writers that might have a manager. But for argument's sake, this is what we're looking for. In this particular case, the best contact we have is CJ Fight at William Morris Endeavour, and that is going to be the person we will be contacting. For the sake of clarity, I do want to show you a person that actually has a manager. So let's have a look at Smile, and hopefully Parker Finn, the writer here, actually does have a manager and not just an agent. So let's have a look. Here we go. This is a very good example. So down on the left-hand side again, we see he has a company as well. And we have his talent agent, CAA. Now, this is really a lot of detail for his representative at CAA. We not only have his email address, but we also have the phone number. But that's not what we're after. I will just say one thing really, really quickly about CAA in particular. If you ever have a circumstance where you are trying to reach out to a representative and of a particular writer, and they only have an agent listed, and that agent happens to be a CAA, I'd almost say just don't bother emailing them. CAA have really, really tight filtering rules, and even if you just send them a log line for something, you probably will just get a form response from them saying that the email has been deleted, they don't accept unsolicited materials, all those kind of things. So just don't bother with CAA, basically. But more importantly, we have the manager, and that's exactly what we're looking for. And his manager is Grandview. We have two representatives that are working for him at Grandview. We have Adam Klein and Jeremy Platt, and this is a wonderful thing to see because we actually have Adam's email there, and that's who we would be contacting. The other way to filter through titles is just to go into Google. You might search for best sci-fi movies of the 2000s. Aliens. So that's going to give you a short list, I guess, of films that match the type of projects that you like to work on, that you like to write, or the main screenplay they're going to be taking out to this manager. You can also scroll down a little bit further here and you'll see other listings that will help you find appropriate titles. And what do you do with that? Well, you just take the title. Let's say you go, yeah, District 9. It's kind of like I think I kind of do similar things. I've got a grounded sci-fi alien thriller. Back to IMDb, you're going to type in District 9. You're going to find the film. And you're going to find the writers now. Neil Blomkamp is the writer-director. So let's just try Terry Tatchell and see if we've got some contact details. Now, this is not a great one for us, not very helpful because there's only a legal representative, and that is definitely not what we're looking for in this particular circumstance. Now, you are going to run into these somewhat dead ends at times, and that's okay. There is just a bit of hard work involved with this, and you just got to keep on pushing through. And believe me, there are plenty of managers out there, plenty of writers, and the information is out there. But you just got to keep on searching, keep on finding the right person to reach out to. Okay, so you've worked out who you want to contact, and now you actually need to reach out to that screenwriting manager or agent. I'm going to show you how to do that. Very, very importantly, to start off with, you need to keep track of who you're contacting. And this doesn't have to be super complicated. Just keep a log so you know when to follow up, all those kind of things. So this is how I do it. It works really well for me. You might find your own version, but just go into Excel. And in Excel, you're going to create a very simple spreadsheet for yourself. The name of the person that you're contacting, also including the name of the agency or the management company, the films that they have represented, that they've been involved with as a manager or an agent. You can also include the name of the screenwriters here, their email address, the date that you sent that initial cold email, the date that you followed up, and we'll talk a bit more about following up. It's very important, and any other notes that are appropriate for that particular person that you're reaching out to, or perhaps some of the feedback that you're going to receive. So just keep this really simple, but just make sure you do it because you will lose track. You'll be sending quite a few emails realistically, and you just want to have a quick glance at something and know exactly when you sent, what happened, what was the feedback, did it progress, and also just keep track of exactly when you need to follow up. Very important. Now, the next step is really to get the email address of the person, the manager, the agent that you want to contact. And we're going to start off with IMDb Pro. That's definitely the best place. As we've already seen, there are quite a lot of details that are on there. So let's just have a look at somebody. Let's go to substance and find the writer here. So Coralie, let's hope that Coralie has a manager. We will see. Let's scroll down here. Now, she does not have a manager. She only has an agent. Now, you can see this has actually been split. This is a good example of something that you might find. There is a talent agent here, and that probably suggests an agent that does sort of below the line and another agent that does above the line, which is like directing and writing. So anyway, talent agent literary, that's definitely where we want to be going. Literary represents screenwriters. We can have a look down here, and we have two reps. We have Amanda Heimson and Richard Klubeck. Now, point. What does that mean? Point means that that is the agent that does the point work, most of the work for that particular client. And that's really who we want to be contacting. Now, the problem here is that we don't actually have an email address for that particular person. But thank goodness down below, Amanda has listed her email, and it's going to give us the email format that we need for Rich. You can see they've done surname and then the first letter of the first name at unitedtalent.com. So we know that most likely Rich's email is going to be klubeckr@unitedtalent.com. It's as easy as that sometimes. Sometimes it takes a little bit more work than that. In those situations where we don't actually have the gift of a full email address already listed on the person's profile, there are a few solutions for this. One of the easy ways, and it is worth doing this, is copying that name. You go into Google again and you type in email address and you see what comes up, because you'd be surprised that sometimes people have the email listed somewhere on some website. And you can see here in the second listing, klubeckr@unitedtalent.com is actually the email that we guessed earlier. So that's fantastic. That's confirmed that. You also find sometimes the actual clients of that particular manager or an agent have listed the full email address on their personal, professional website, so people know who to contact. So you'll often see those pop up. But this is definitely a worthwhile way of finding the appropriate email address. That one was, again, very, very nice and easy for us to find. Now, another option when you can't see the actual email address on the writer's profile and you've done a Google search, you couldn't find it there either, we're really going to be looking at trying to work out what that email format is. So you can go into the agency's profile and just find another person that works there. Let's just try Houston Acosta and just see, no, they don't have their email address listed. No. Okay. And sometimes you just won't find the email format anywhere. You've searched IMDb, you've looked online, you've Google searched that particular company, and then it's just about guessing. And I've done that many times. Just guess first name dot surname at CAA.com. You then try first initial surname at whatever it might be, and just keep on trying. You'll get bounce back until you don't get a bounce back and you know you've sent it through to the right email address. And again, that's why that spreadsheet is really important, to keep track of those things so you know what you've done in the past and you don't just double up and waste your time. So you know who to contact, they're a good fit for your screenplay, and you've got their email address, so you're ready to go. What now? Well, you got to write that email first, right? And look, the most important thing here is to keep it short and sweet, to the point. Don't waste their time. Don't waste your time. Make it clear and easy, but also, professional and also casual, but you got to find that right line between the two of them. So what do you actually include in this email? Skip all the pleasantries. Hey, hope you had a great weekend. You don't know them. They don't know you. It's just fluff that's getting in the way. It's more reading. You want to keep this email as quick and fast for them to read as possible. So keep it nice and simple, right? Get to the point. It'd be really nice to open with something that you admire or respect about them. Maybe it's the clients they represent, and you think they've done some incredible work. Or often a lot of managers, especially managers, are also producers, so they might have made films that you've watched that you really like. So open with a very brief, this is why I'm contacting you. This is why you're the manager, you're the agent for me. And then you want to tell them very quickly why you're contacting them. I have a very similar film to one of your clients, so-and-so client. What is it? It's a feature film, a feature action thriller about, and then you need to include a really good, strong, punchy log line. So hit them with the log line. This is your key selling point for the film. So, we'll probably do another video on making good log lines, but have a really strong log line in there. Then you want to get out of that email as quickly as possible with a call to action. So can I send you the one pager? Can I send you the synopsis? Can I send you the screenplay? Give them a clear call to action, and then get out of it. Thank you in advance for your time. Really appreciate it. Hope to hear from you soon. And then you're out. Now, a couple of little last things that are really important is the subject line. Whatever you do, don't make this salesy. You don't want to give them a reason not to click and read your email. So don't say, I'm looking for a manager, or looking for manager, looking for representation, screenwriter, looking for manager. Keep in mind that they're getting a lot of emails, cold emails like this. They're very, very busy. If they just see that, that's the first thing they're going to see. They're just going to skip right past that, to be honest. They're just going to delete that email. They're just not even going to open it. So avoid that. So what works as a subject line? Well, just, something very simple like the title of the film, or you might just write the genre, action thriller, something like that, which gives them a sense of what the email is about, very roughly, without too much detail. It gives them a reason to delete the email or ignore it. Just something that requires them to click and read the email. Now, the other thing you can do here, and this is for the body of the email as well, if you have had some success either as a screenwriter or your actual screenplay has had some success, you've won a major competition or placed really highly in a major screenwriting competition, if you might have made a film before, there is a way to work that in. So you might write, for example, in the subject line, the title of the film, Alien finalist in the final draft competition, or top 3 in final draft. Again, you don't want to say too much in that, just enough to sort of hook them in to read your email. Now, if you've got something like that to include in the body of the email, again, really useful when you talk about the project. You can say, I have this action thriller film that is in the top 10 action films on the red list. It's about blah, blah, blah. Something that shows that this project, it stands out from the others and might be worth them having a look at. So you've sent these emails and perhaps you haven't heard back. Most likely, just to be very honest with you, you will not hear back from most of the people that you're going to email. It'll just be absolute crickets. But don't despair. Just because you haven't heard back doesn't mean that they're not interested. It doesn't mean that your project isn't a great project. It doesn't mean that your career is over. It's just that they're very, very busy people. Their main focus is their existing clients, making money for their clients, making money for themselves. Some cold email from a new writer is very low on their priority list. So the art here is the art of follow-up. You got to give an appropriate amount of time before you follow up. Just give it, if you're just asking for that initial stage of, can I send you a synopsis? Can I send you the screenplay? 2-3 weeks or something like that is probably a good amount of time to leave it. Send a follow-up. Again, keep it very simple. Hi, John, touching base about my thriller, blah, blah, blah. This is the log line again. Just wanted to see if you might be interested in having a look at the synopsis or having a read of the script. Again, you might not hear back, and that's okay. Give it another, maybe this time, 3-4 weeks. Try again. A lot of this is just about the right timing. You need to get that agent, that manager, on that particular day where they have a little bit less work, they're in a good mood, they maybe just lost a couple of clients have moved on, they're looking to expand. You just got to get those stars just need to align. So don't despair in that particular situation. Just keep on following up and keep track of those follow-ups in your Excel spreadsheet or whatever you might be using. Now, before we get to the good stuff, which is actually how signing with a manager and agent works, if you've really enjoyed this video, I'd really appreciate if you liked and subscribed, and let me know what other kinds of videos you'd like me to make in the future. I'll definitely be checking out the comments later. So you've received a response. What now? Now, the most likely thing that you will get back from a manager and agent is either a request for the screenplay itself, or they might just ask for a one-pager, which is a synopsis of your project. You should have that synopsis ready to go if you've got a completed screenplay ready to go out to market. So what you will do is you'll send that screenplay, you will send that synopsis, and you will wait again. And quite possibly, again, you will not hear anything whatsoever. Don't stress. Again, we're following up. Appropriate amount of time here is very, very important. If you've sent the full screenplay, please don't follow up in 2 weeks' time. It's going to take a little bit more time than that. Realistically, probably what's going to happen in that agency, in that management company, they're actually going to give that screenplay to a reader. It might be a couple of readers. They've got a whole lot of scripts that they're going to be reading. They're going to read it. It's going to go back up to the manager. If it's got a good mark from those readers, then the manager, the agent will read it themselves. Sometimes, in some circumstances, the manager or agent will read it themselves. Again, their priorities are existing clients who are producing screenplays all the time. That manager, that agent will have a stack of scripts that they need to get through every single weekend. Yours is right at the bottom of it. That's reality. So give them some time, maybe give them a month to 6 weeks to read your script, and then follow up. Again, keep it nice and simple, polite, courteous, appreciate their time, follow up. Give them a little bit more time, follow up. Hopefully, you then get a positive response. And that response will be something like, hey, script was good, let's catch up for a Zoom. Or even maybe a meeting face-to-face. These days, it generally is a Zoom, something like that. So what actually happens in that meeting? Well, it's pretty exciting. They will have a bit of a chat with you. They will obviously want to know your background in writing, like what you've done in the past, what your goals are, where you want to go, what you're passionate about. They very importantly will want to know the other types of projects that you're working on. So be prepared to speak about that. You're not going to have to go into massive detail in terms of a pitch of those particular scripts or whatever it might be, but you need to be able to talk about them and confidently talk about them. Say, I'm working on this one, I'm really excited about because of this reason, and I've got this other one which is a little bit like this and that. It's a blend between horror and a comedy, and it's similar to these projects, whatever it might be. But you just need to be able to confidently talk about those projects. Remember, one of the things that they're looking at here is your ability to pitch. Can you communicate ideas, your screenplay ideas, in a compelling way? Because that's a big part of being a screenwriter. So they're having a look at that and obviously seeing if you are able to generate more than one good screenplay. Are there other interesting ideas here? And in most cases, probably what will happen is they will ask to read more. They'll tell you the types of projects that you've spoken about that they are interested in. You'll send them through and you will again wait. You will follow up, you'll follow that same process, give them appropriate time, and then hopefully at the end of all that, after they've read some more scripts, they will want to sign you. Wow, you've done it. So then what happens? Well, you'll have another meeting with them. You'll chat a bit about your goals. They'll start to give you some guidance and all those kind of things. One of the things that'll happen potentially in that meeting is they'll talk about getting an agreement in place with you, basically an agreement that says that they will be representing you. This is the scope of the representation, and they will also talk about the percentages they'll be taking from your work. Now, I can't recommend this highly enough. If you do get an agreement like that, do get it looked at by a professional of some kind, ideally an entertainment lawyer. I have had situations where an agent has tried to give me an agreement where they were trying to take a cut of absolutely everything that I do. They were going to represent me primarily as a screenwriter. That was a service they were going to provide, and they wanted to take a cut of my producing work as well. I said no, and I didn't sign with them. It's kind of, yeah, it's one of those things where you just want to be really careful because there's lots of different ways that you can earn money, and you just want to make sure that they're appropriately taking their cut and you are getting bang for your buck. So there you have it. You've got a manager, you've got an agent. Congratulations. I hope this was really helpful for you. I'll be making lots more videos like this, so keep an eye out on my channel. Thank you so much for your time.